Hey, what's up, wrestling world? This is August C. Jones here with another Wrestle One vlog video. And so on this episode, I'm going to be talking about actually two things. One of the things is the whole Randy Orton thing and what happened on SmackDown, and him deciding to go to SmackDown and whatnot, as well as I'm going to be talking about CM Punk and possible competitors to who he could go against, because as of right now he's not going against Seth Rollins, but we're going to get to that in a minute. So just to let you guys know, if you like this video, and hopefully I'll see you guys at the end of this video, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And so with that out the way, let's go ahead and jump right into things. So let's first talk about the whole Randy Orton thing. So on SmackDown, it was a whole thing of Randy Orton being a free agent, and that Adam Pearce was on SmackDown because, you know, Nick Aldis is the general manager of SmackDown, and they were both trying to entice him to go to Raw. And well, he was trying to entice him to go to Raw, and Nick Aldis was trying to get him to be exclusively to SmackDown. And the one thing that stood out to me, it was cool, but one thing that truly stood out to me, which I can put on the side of bad writing. I don't know what's up with this light. Let me fix that. Okay. Yeah, it's still right there. Anyway, it's the person behind me. But when it comes to everything that happened on SmackDown, it's all have to do with the writing. Because with Randy Orton coming back on Raw, it was why didn't Adam Pearce try to get Randy Orton that day? Why didn't he just make a play talking about whatever you want? You want to bump and pay, you want to do this, and try everything in his power to keep Randy on Raw? That didn't happen. But he waited till SmackDown to where you had the other person get, I ain't gonna say the upper hand, but it's on SmackDown, so it is the upper hand, to sign him. Which to me is kind of stupid, but okay, whatever. The other thing that kind of stood out to me, and this is just bad writing, bad, the creative team, I don't know what they were thinking. This is just thrown together. But it was a no-brainer as to where Randy Orton was going to end up. And this is why. If Randy Orton came out on Raw, and he was talking about how he has receipts for all of the bloodline. He literally has he has the receipt for all of the bloodline. And it's so with him having his mind and eyes set on the bloodline, talking about that he hasn't forgotten and he's gonna get him, why in the world would you think that he would stay on Raw? His vendetta, his mindset is going after Roman Reigns and the remaining members of the bloodline, whoever they are. I mean, we already know who they are, but it's that's his goal. That's his what he has planned for his future, or his near future in storyline. And I'm just thinking, why would Adam Pearce, just even the storyline, just common sense, why would you think that Randy Orton would go to Raw when what he wants is on SmackDown? Now, unless he could be on some, okay, this is what I want. I want to be on Raw, but I get to choose when and where I want to go, or, when I want to go over to SmackDown and, just whatever. But because you have Nick Aldis on there, it's you have to be in one place or the other. Now, I know they break this rule, so I mean, don't no, I know y'all quick to, if y'all watching this video, y'all quick to be oh well, that don't matter. It's yeah, I already know it don't matter. But just in storyline, the logic of it is that when you're signed to this place, you're signed to this place. You can't be signed to this place and just easily go over here, which we all know what it is. But it's why would they think that we, as a fan, as an audience member, watching this show, whether in person or live, will have it in our mind where is he gonna go? What is he gonna choose? It's it's obvious. He came in his first promo talking about where his mindset is. And it's after the Bloodline. The Bloodline isn't on Raw, even though they could go on Raw. You know, they don't have to be signed to Raw to go on there, but the Bloodline is not on Raw. The Bloodline is on SmackDown. So just logically, storyline logics would dictate that Randy, every time I say, I always hear Riddle talking about Randy, and I know it's just whatever, but logic would dictate that Randy, he don't give a fuck, like, whether if Raw got all this competition on there or SmackDown has better competition. His mindset is the Bloodline. So that's one of the things, like, I would think, like, if Adam Pearce, I would be trying to throw everything under the sun at him, but because he would have to know that it's more that Nick Aldis has the upper hand. Like, it's just, I never got why they play that, and that's why, like, I made the video. And if you guys haven't seen it, I'm probably put it up here at the end of the video. Go check it out. But I talk about the WWE writing and how certain stuff just doesn't make sense in, like, or it just doesn't make common sense in, like, how they do it. It just in, like, behind the scenes and on screen with the storylines. And this is one of those things. This is not to the biggest degree of what they're doing with the Bloodline, which I talked up in the video, and like the Judgment Day and all that stuff, but even just something that's minor, just, it's like there was no divide in our minds that we didn't know where Randy Orton was going to go. We knew. We just was waiting for that point. And it was just, I don't know who made that decision. But yeah, that was the thing. Because with him wrestling on Raw and being on Raw, I thought that he was a Raw competitor. And I was trying to think out how they're going to swing this by putting him on, like, SmackDown, when he's basically made his intentions were coming back to get revenge on the Bloodline. And whatever means that that has to happen, he's going to do it. But with him not being signed to Raw, it's like, okay, well, we already know what's going to happen. Either he's going to stay a free agent and just float, kind of like Brock Lesnar, or they were essentially going to put him on on SmackDown. And it was just, I don't know, it was no kind of like mystery or heavy mystery that we was like just thinking, like, you don't know, it was kind of like one of those moments that was kind of just like, yeah, y'all don't have to do all this, y'all, we already know what it is. Certain things, you know, it is what it is. You know, we know how things is going to be. We just like to see it play out. But there's certain things in storyline where it's like, yeah, you don't need to do all this. You could have just simply headed in this type of way, and that would have been perfectly fine. And it would have been like that, where he just come out and just was like, yeah, Nick Aldis, like, he could have came out on Raw talking about, like, he's here on, like, Raw, but he is signed to SmackDown because his intentions are to go at the Bloodline, but he wanted to see some guys in the back, or he wanted to, like, say hi on, like, Raw or whatever, and then you still could have had things happen the same way. But yeah, I don't know, it bugged me. It was one of the things that bugged me. I needed to get it off my chest. But that's but like, in talking about that, it refers back to the writing. Like I said in my video, like, it's just, they need to get better at not even just writing, coming up with these storylines and what's happening, but they need to make common sense of what's going on. Because when you're not making common sense of what's going on, everything just starts to look stupid, and it's just, I don't know. But with that said, that ends me talking about the whole Randy Orton situation. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with him. But we all know that even if, like, he has a match with Roman Reigns, that he's not gonna win. We already know that. We already know that that's reserved for for Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. So it's not even going to be a surprise, but I want to see them go head to head sometime soon. And more than likely is going to be for the Royal Rumble, which should be a really good match, and everything that's happening with that. And I feel like with Randy coming back, we might see the return of AJ Styles soon. If not this month, it may end up being at the Royal Rumble. when what is it, when they have their match, you probably gonna have Solo and Jimmy come out and try and mess up, and then all of a sudden, you don't want none, they don't want none, all that's gonna pop up, and then it's gonna be the stupid name for the group, the club, coming out and literally like scaring off the rest of them, and it's still gonna be some fuckery, and you know, Roman Reigns is gonna win. But I feel like that's probably gonna be what it is or whatnot. But anyway, let's move on to CM Punk, and who will he be fighting? And if you've made it this far, go ahead and hit that like button, man. Go ahead and subscribe, because I'm going to be doing more stuff like this. Hopefully every day or every other day. But talking about CM Punk and what's happening with him. So I know a lot of people are talking about like what feud he's going to do. And I've already discussed it in my whole thing as far as the whole thing with Rollins and him exploding at the pay-per-view event toward the end of it and everything else. And I even said up in there where I feel like a lot of that was staged. A lot of that was kind of like put in to kind of throw some seeds as to where it's going to possibly go. And I know a lot of people want them to just jump into there, and they was kind of disappointed with Punk not really mentioning like Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins not really, I mean, he did mention Punk, but not like that. It's like, you know, them not really getting into it right away. And like I say to that, the thing that was disappointing with CM Punk is not the fact that he didn't come out and just bash AEW or whatever, but you can tell that his speech, his promo was very neutered. And he didn't have to come out and curse, bash people or nothing like that. But you can tell that he was not really, it wasn't the best promo that he could have given coming back. And I think it was mainly just because he was restricted as to what he can mention, because I'm pretty sure that when it comes to WWE, they put in his clause, and I've heard this, that they put a behavioral clause in his contracts. I'm not entirely sure if that's like been confirmed, but I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty damn sure. Like I said before, CM Punk is going to be on his best behavior, but just to ensure that he's on his best behavior, I honestly would have did the same thing, put it up in his clause. But that probably extends to his promos. They probably didn't talk with him, probably had to put it in writing, him signing it, that he cannot actively come out and be like, and just bash people, whether it's in an interview, podcast, promo, backstage, in front of the crowd, in the ring, whatever. He cannot bash AEW. He cannot bash other wrestlers on the roster unless it's part of the storyline or something like that. So I'm pretty sure that like that was put in, and because he couldn't say the things that I know in his heart and his mind he wants to say, that he just couldn't. Whether it was because they probably have something legal between him and Tony Khan with the whole AEW situation, where Tony Khan has came out and said that he can't speak on it legally to a certain extent. And then it's probably the same thing with CM Punk, but also just because of the standards with WWE and what they have. So I feel like that was maybe the disappointing. But even though him being neutered, I guess you could say, in his speech, and being restricted as to what he can and can't do or say, I feel like he could have made a better speech. And like I said before, like his whole speech of I'm home now and the reason why I came back, it was just all bullshit. It was just that's the one thing, that's one of the things that I just did not like about his speech. But getting off of that, like I feel like a lot of people were disappointed because they didn't jump right into it with him and Rollins. And we all know that's where it's leading. That's why Rollins said what he said some months back, talking about he's a cancer, stay away, and all this stuff, and then way he reacted. And then, you know, CM Punk kind of like lightly referring to Rollins, basically saying that like he's one of the people that didn't, you know, wasn't welcoming of him. And then Rollins did what he did in his promo. I feel like it was a good thing that they're not jumping into it right away, because we still have the rest of this month. We still have some more time to get from here to the Royal Rumble. It's about a month and a half, I believe. I don't even know. I can't even come off the head what when the Royal Rumble is, but there is a good enough time for them to do something up until there. And like I've said to friends before, people I have conversations with, that when Rollins and Punk actually have their feud, it doesn't have to be for a title. Who said? And I think that's what in people's mind, people are like sitting there thinking, because Rollins has the championship. And it was the same thing with if The Rock was going to fight Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns has the championship, that the championship has to go on the line. And what people aren't thinking about is that when it comes to that, it doesn't have to be on the line. Rollins and Punk by himself, just having a match and just having it to where it's like bad blood, that's a main event match. That's a match that can literally be the match of the night and not have to have the world title or the universal undisputed title on the line. It doesn't have to have any title on the line. That's a marquee match that will bring people in, that will put butts in seats, depending on how they go along with it. But that's a match that can really be put as the main event, just like Rollins and The Rock. They don't have to have the title on the line. That by itself, just because of what The Rock has done and where The Rock is with his whole life and his career, and then where Roman is right now, literally could be just by itself a marquee WrestleMania main event match. And I mean really like night 2 main event match. So when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking like Punk doesn't have to go at Rollins right away. Wow. He doesn't have to go at Rollins right away. And then on top of that, when they finally come together at WrestleMania, it doesn't have to be for a title. It doesn't. All you have to do is make it a feud. Like, you know, they want to like make each other bleed. They want to take each other's head off. Make it to where they want to kill each other. Have the same energy of Rollins and Riddle, where they got into it. Not make it that where Rollins, whether in storyline, whether it's a shoot or work or mixture of both, which I think what it is, have him have that same hostility and emotion toward Punk, and then you can have Punk reciprocate it, and then you have a marquee WrestleMania match. And I feel like that's where they're more than likely going, because, and I say that because when you look at it, what they're playing, that stupid thing with Rollins having a back injury, and like it's a thing in every single matchup that he's in. I hate that they've done that, because they don't sell it like they're supposed to. They're not making it seem anyway. I've talked about it before in another video, but I just hate it. With that, I feel like I don't know, like I forgot my footing. I just hate that they did that. But with them building up what's his name, Drew McIntyre, to be the type of heel that he is, like they're building him up to be, I feel like it would be all for nothing if he doesn't get the World Heavyweight Championship. Now I get it, like when you're thinking about WrestleMania, when you're thinking about some marquee matches, night 1 and everything else, you're thinking of Rollins and Punk, because to me, and I'm more than likely to a lot of people, that's the more like profitable, marquee, bigger match. But with them building up McIntyre like they are, I feel like he is going to get the title. And it might be at Royal Rumble or whatever the next one. I think Elimination Chamber is in between Royal Rumble and Mania, and I think they might have another crown jewel or something in between there. But essentially, I feel like they're going to give it to McIntyre. He's going to be the person that's going to win the title from Rollins. It's not going to be CM Punk. They more than likely might put it on CM Punk later on next year. But I feel like the next person to get the title off of Rollins is going to be McIntyre, because I feel like it would be all for nothing if they built him up to where he is now and he just cannot get it. And then it's like, where do you go from there? The only thing that can happen is that McIntyre just like, okay, look, I'm done with WWE. Let me go somewhere else. And I feel like that's the only thing that will be. But I feel like if they put the title on him, that would not only keep him staying, but it will make more sense. So I feel like in my mind, if they have Rollins and CM Punk go at each other at WrestleMania, and I'm not even really down for a triple threat, because when you're looking at a triple threat match between Punk, Rollins, and McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship, I don't think it'll be feasible. And this is why. They spent all this time on McIntyre to build him up, like I said, to where he is now, to look like the next person that's going to take the title off of Rollins, who's going to take the title off of Rollins. But when you're going into it, who are going to be the more bigger names? It's not going to be McIntyre. It's going to be Rollins, and it's going to be CM Punk. And who are the people that, who is the person that people are going to want to win? It's going to be CM Punk. You know, it's going to be CM Punk. It's not going to be Drew McIntyre, because Drew McIntyre, he is a big name, and he's going in that heel turn. So it's one of those things where it's like, more than likely, Drew is going to be put to the side. And I feel like that's kind of like the wrong thing to do for him, because when you're looking at Drew may not be as big as fucking, I mean, well, figuratively, he may not be as big as Punk and Rollins as far as their fame and everything else and like their popularity, but let's be honest, Drew McIntyre looks like a fucking, like, he looks like a champion. He carries himself like a champion. He's just a big motherfucker. Like, he's huge. He's a guy that you would look at and just be so intimidated as a man. You just be looking like it make you, like, if you see him in the gym and you working out and your body ain't up to snuff, it's gonna make you stop working out and just go home and eat somebody, like, fuck it. You know, it's gonna be one of those things. Like, so I feel like logically, if I was behind the scenes, if I hit it my way, Drew McIntyre would be the new World Heavyweight Championship, and give it to him at Royal Rumble. I keep back to say WrestleMania. Give it to him at the Royal Rumble. And then you can still have CM Punk and Rollins in a main event match. Maybe not night one main event. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe. Depending on what happens going toward there. But, I mean, you could still have them in a big match. Depending on, and I hope once they do it, if they take the title off of Rollins and the title isn't involved, they just need to hype up the match and make it just so... make it one of those things where they just, like, hate each other. They hate each other's guts. And they want to just turn the match into a Swerve Strickland match and Adam Page match where they just bleeding all over the goddamn place. They just want it to be like that. Like, that's all they need to do, is just build it up to where people want to see it. And, you know, they just, in storylines, just want to rip each other apart. That's all they got to do. And then... that's really it. But the next person that CM Punk should go at, and I'm going to end this video because I'm not trying to make it too crazy long, but the next person that CM Punk should go with into the meantime, I feel like they might, and I hate that they're doing this, and I hate that they're more than likely going to do this, they might put him up against the Judgment Day. Because, like, what they're going to do is, more than likely, they're going to take what's his name? God damn it, I'm been saying it the whole time. Rollins away and have him and McIntyre do their thing with their rivalry. No Judgment Day involvement. But then they're more than likely gonna replace him with Punk. And I feel like that's the easy way out. If you're gonna put him up against somebody, put him up against somebody that has no ties to the Judgment Day. Somebody that's a heel, and you can go through your pick of the litter on Raw, because I think that's where he's gonna be at. If not, then I don't know, man, because I doubt if they're gonna put him on SmackDown as well as Randy Orton, because I feel like they're gonna keep him on Raw. So let's just go with him being on Raw, and that's what he is. So I would just say keep him away from the Judgment Day, put him up against somebody that has no ties to the Judgment Day. But I feel like that's more than likely where they're gonna go. I feel like that's where they're going to go. But I don't know, man. That's just kind of like my whole thoughts on the whole CM Punk thing. And I feel like I said, like reiterating, like I feel like they did the right thing by not putting them together, and they need to give that time to breathe. I know people really want it, but it's like when you think about what they're doing right now, it's like the only thing to do that they could do is put like Drew McIntyre on the back burner. And like Drew McIntyre is really close to leaving the company, like this year, I believe. So it's like you kind of want a person like a Drew McIntyre to stay with the company. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like they need him, but look, like I said, look at the guy. You kind of do need him. Not necessarily, but it would be nice to have a guy that look like a Drew McIntyre on the roster, especially as a heel, to just do damage. And that's really it. So I don't know, I might make another video talking about different names, but I just kind of wanted to talk about that real quick. And if you've made it this far, thank you. And go ahead and give me a like, subscribe if you're not, hit that notification bell for more videos like this. And I will catch you guys on the next one. So peace out, stay safe, and yeah, let's get this going with I don't know.